My name is Dan, and I grew up in a small town called Redwood Falls, Minnesota. A small town where everyone knows everyone else. And the only news is who argued with whom at the church picnic. I was always the one looking up at the sky. I loved astronomy. Read every book about space I could find. But I never thought I'd see anything like this myself. It all started when I went fishing. I usually fished on the Redwood River. But that evening I decided to go to a lake about 10 kilometers from town. It was late summer, when the nights get cool and dark, and the chirping of crickets drowns out all other sounds. I was sitting on the shore, casting my line and enjoying the silence, when I saw it. At first, I thought it was a plane. A light was moving slowly in the sky. But it wasn't like any plane I'd ever seen. It was too bright, too erratic, and it moved strangely, chaotically. It would stop, hover in the air, and then suddenly shoot off in another direction. I got out my binoculars. And that's when my stomach clenched with dread. It wasn't a plane. It was. I don't know how to describe it. Something like a disc. But uneven, as if made of metal and stone. It was pulsating, emitting light of different colors, blue, green, purple. And it was moving absolutely silently. I froze, watching this object. And suddenly it started to descend. Slowly but surely, it approached the lake until it hovered right above the surface of the water. I was scared to death. But I couldn't take my eyes off it. I felt like I was nailed to the spot. Then, a beam of light shot out from under the object. It was narrow and intense. Like a laser, and it went straight into the water. I saw the water boiling. And evaporating where the beam hit. And then I saw it. A creature rose out of the water. It was tall and thin, with long, slender limbs. Its skin was gray and smooth. And its head was disproportionately large, with huge, black eyes that had no pupils or whites. It didn't look angry, more curious. It was just looking at me. I froze, unable to move or say anything. I felt like my thoughts were being transmitted directly into its consciousness. I felt it scanning me, studying me. Then, it reached out a hand to me. Or rather, a limb resembling a hand. But with 3 long, thin fingers. I don't know why, but I didn't feel threatened. I felt like it wanted to make contact. I slowly reached out my hand in response. As our hands almost touched, there was a click, and everything disappeared. The object shot into the sky with incredible speed. The creature vanished under the water, and the beam of light went out. I was left standing on the shore, shaking all over. It felt like hours had passed. Although it was probably only minutes. I was stunned, scared. But at the same time, fascinated. I didn't tell anyone about it. I knew no one would believe me. They'd think I was crazy. I tried to forget about it. To convince myself it was a dream, a figment of my imagination. But I knew it was real. I saw it. I felt it. Years passed. And I continued to study everything related to UFOs and aliens. I came across many stories similar to mine. And it made me feel a little less alone. But then things got even stranger. A few months after the incident at the lake, I started having dreams. Very vivid, realistic dreams. In which I saw myself on board the same object that I saw on the lake. In the dream, I traveled through space. Saw stars and planets I had never seen before. I communicated with those creatures. Not with words, but with thoughts. They showed me things I can't describe in words, technologies. An understanding of the universe that was beyond my human mind. I woke up sweaty and scared. But at the same time excited. I felt like I was changing. Like I was beginning to understand something important. These dreams continued for several years. They became more and more intense and real. Sometimes I couldn't distinguish between dream and reality. I began to feel different. As if something inside me had changed. I became more sensitive to energies, more intuitive. I began to understand things I didn't understand before. I started to notice that people were looking at me strangely. Some looked with apprehension. Others with curiosity. One day, in a store, a woman came up to me and said, "I know who you are. I know you are one of them." I was shocked. How could she know? Then I learned about the so-called star children or indigo children. People who are believed to have extraterrestrial origins. Or connections to extraterrestrial civilizations. People who possess special abilities. And a mission on Earth. And I began to think, maybe I am one of them. I don't know what all this means. I don't know why it happened to me. But I know it changed me forever. I know that I am not like everyone else. I know that I saw something I shouldn't have seen. And I know that I am now part of something bigger than I can imagine. I've been living with this for many years. I've learned to live with my fears and doubts. I try to use my abilities for good. I help other people, share my experiences. And look for others who have experienced something similar. I was driving back late one night. I'd taken a detour to that same lake. Just drawn there. Like a moth to a flame. The night was eerily silent. The kind of silence that makes the hairs on your neck stand up. Then I saw it, the same pulsing light in the sky. The same erratic movements. It was unmistakable. This time. I was ready. I had my phone in my hand. Camera app already open. I pulled over to the side of the road and started recording. The object descended. Just like before, hovering over the lake. And then, it appeared. The same tall, gray being, rising from the water. My hands were shaking so badly. I could barely hold the phone steady. But I kept filming. The creature approached me, slowly, deliberately. Its black eyes fixed on mine. It didn't feel threatening. Just intensely curious. I felt that familiar mental connection. The feeling of being scanned, analyzed. After what felt like an eternity. The object shot back into the sky and the creature slipped back into the water. This time, though, I had something. I had proof. I rushed home. Adrenaline coursing through my veins. I couldn't wait to show my family, to finally have some validation for what I'd experienced. But when I played the video back, that's when things got really weird. The image was distorted, flickering. The creature was barely visible, a blurry shape in the darkness. And then, superimposed over the footage, were symbols. Strange glyphs, mixed with numbers, flashing and changing constantly. It was a code, no doubt about it. A message. My family, of course, were skeptical. They saw a shaky video, a bunch of random symbols, and a very agitated me. "It's just static, Dan," my sister said, trying to reassure me. "Maybe a glitch with your phone." But I knew better. This wasn't static. This was intentional. I became obsessed. I spent weeks, months, poring over the video, trying to decipher the symbols. I consulted cryptographers, linguists, even some fringe researchers I found online. Most dismissed it as gibberish. But I felt in my gut that it was important. Finally, after countless hours, I had a breakthrough. I managed to isolate a recurring sequence, a short string of symbols and numbers that kept appearing throughout the video. Using a complex algorithm, I managed to translate it. The message was chillingly simple: help. Just one word. Help. Who needed help? The creature? Its species? What were they trying to tell me? The implications were staggering. This was more than just a sighting. This was a plea. And I felt compelled, driven, to answer it. The road ahead is shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. But I knew one thing: I had to find out what that message meant, and how I could help. The hunt continues.